She goes, Meng, God saved you. And I was like, what do you mean? Because she's a physician.
Oh.
She's a nurse practitioner. She was like, did you know that the number one complication in pregnancy is high blood pressure? That was it.
Mic drop.
That's what I mean, that there's a story throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
At this point, it's like, what do I have to doubt?
A few years ago, someone had mentioned that Meng had a story to tell. But when I called her, the first thing she said was, I don't have a story. But as we started talking and she started sharing, I physically had to sit down. This wasn't just a story. Her life was an example of what God can do when you put your trust in Him. There's so many layers in her story, so many pivots she had to make mentally, physically, and more importantly, spiritually, that the only way to tell it is to have her share it with you. I'm Maliu Garcia Pablo, and you're listening to Making Changes, a podcast about changes we go through and the life lessons we learn along the way, but always with God by our side.
Hello, Rhea Mae.
Hello, thank you for having me here.
Okay, first, let's just get it out of the way.
Okay.
Can I just call you Meng? Because I don't know you as Rhea Mae.
Yes, you can call me Meng. Yes.
Hello, Meng. Welcome to Making Changes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
We're going to start off by saying happy belated birthday. You just had a milestone of a birthday, and I saw the videos and the photos. So tell us about this monumental birthday of yours.
So my birthday is February 25th, and I turned 40. So I'm a numbers girl. So it's 02/25, 2025. And so I thought to myself, wow, and it's my 40th. And after everything that I went through these past couple of years, coming into 2025, I told myself, no holds bar. Whatever's on your heart, so long as it's in His will, just do it. What do you have to lose?
Because you're not a birthday party celebration kind of person.
Actually, I love birthdays, but not in a way like I'll throw birthdays or I'll do like adventures, put things on. And I love birthdays. I celebrate my birthday all month. But to have I feel like I'm having a debut at 40.
Well, let's talk about that, because you didn't even know this, but friends of yours reached out to people, because you know everybody, it seems. Friends of yours, unbeknownst to you, reached out to people, myself included. So I sent you a greeting, right?
Thank you so much.
And, they really took the time months before your birthday to be able to get shout outs and messages of love from all of these people just for you as a gift, right? Yes. And I saw the videos. You are so loved. So I already see you tearing up right now. Why was this? It's your 40th, and, but your friends really rallied around to make sure that you felt loved and celebrated. What has the last few years been like for you?
About 3 years ago, it was during, we were in worship service. I looked at my sister and I said, I think you're going to need to take me to the ER. And she was like, what's going on?
What were you feeling?
My whole left side completely went numb. I couldn't, from my lips down to my arms, everything. And it's like, something's wrong. I think we have to go. We went straight to the ER, and my blood pressure was 192/110 or something like that. And as they were like, something's wrong with her, because I was like, you could tell I was off. So as they were taking this off, I don't know what compelled me to, I know it was God, but I said to the doctor, by the way, both my grandparents died of brain aneurysms. That's all I said to them as I'm going into the ER.
Because you could feel that you were thinking maybe it is an aneurysm, it's a stroke. What made you say that out loud?
I have no idea, because before then, before that moment, for 2 weeks straight, my carotid artery was pulsing. Whoa. And my headaches were so bad. And the headaches were so bad that I would tell my sister, I was like, whatever's in here, I wish it would just pop. Oh, that was my, that's how I spoke. How I described this
so
feeling.
Painful.
It was so painful. And it just felt like this barometer. Like it was like a thermometer, just like about to explode. And so I said that at the ER after 2 weeks of going through this. And then he went and got the MRI, and that's when he said, "I'm sorry to tell you, but you have a brain aneurysm." And that was like,
Was it
my
about to rupture? Like, you have a brain aneurysm. Were they afraid it was going to rupture soon?
So yeah, that was the whole thing. Was he goes, "You're a ticking time bomb."
Wow.
And he was like, "Do you want to die?" I mean, imagine someone telling you you're a ticking time bomb. You have a brain aneurysm, and you know your family has all died.
You have 3 family members.
I have 3
who
family
died.
members that have died, and they all passed away from, 2 from a brain aneurysm, and then 1 from.
And
an
how
8-year-old.
old were they?
In their 60s, 50s, and 60s, and they didn't know they had it. So
what are you thinking at this moment?
I just want to go to the chapel and pray. That's all I wanted to do.
Obviously, you can't because they're not going to let you go home.
Yeah.
So tell me about, if you remember, what was your first words that came out of your mouth in the ER?
You want to be real with you? I said, "Why?" And I kind of feel ashamed about saying that now. Can I talk?
Well,
just real
you're human.
talk? Yeah, that's true.
Why what? Can you finish the sentence?
How? I thought I was healthy. Like, why? Why do I have a brain aneurysm?
At this point, you are an active member of the church. You're an officer. What were the duties?
Oh, yeah. I'm a Sunday school teacher, CWS teacher.
Children's worship service
teacher. I'm in the choir. At the time, I was the district vice president of the Kadiwa organization.
Our youth group.
Yes, of the youth group, our district-wide youth group, as well as I helped with a lot of the marketing and media for the Light of Salvation to share our faith.
So you're so spiritually involved. You are doing everything that you thought you're supposed to do as a Christian.
Yeah.
And so now you're saying why, and what's the request though that you ask from God at this point?
My thing was, "God, please help me. Please guide me in everything that I do." But at that moment, it was anxiety just flooded in, constant anxiety of, is this it? I was constantly thinking to myself, every time I got a headache, is this it? I need to go to the doctor. I would go to the ER. And I couldn't live like that. There was just something happening.
Living a life of paranoia.
Yes, constant. Like, is this it? I was at the point where I was writing my goodbye letters to my family. I have letters. Actually, I have letters to my family that I wrote.
Because 3 of your family members didn't make it.
I'm going to fast forward. And I find out 6 months later, I found out that the aneurysm was inoperable. It's in a place where it's in between both hemispheres. And so if they were to do the surgery, it's either there's 2 outcomes according to the doctors, that it was either I'd die or I wouldn't be the same person in terms of my personality.
So nothing positive.
Yeah. So I was like, no. And they had already brought it to a panel of 11 doctors where 5 of them said, get the surgery, and 6 said, don't. And my doctor was like, well, it's up to you. And I was like, okay, how can you make that decision?
It's not even a choice, really.
Yeah. It's like, so how am I supposed to make that decision? And so this is where that journey of like trust started. And I felt a shift happen, and God started to put people in my life that were helping me become someone that walked by faith, who trusted God. And I started to read books. I have mentors who help me through my thought life. And I know for a fact that God put them in my life, because that's where that shift changed. And I said to myself, well, if God was to give me 10 days or 10 years to live, how would I live that life? And my fate is no different from your fate. Like the doctor can just label it like, oh, well, you have an aneurysm and
you're a ticking
time bomb. But that's anybody.
Yes.
I could walk out here and my ticking time bomb was a car. I mean, that's the reality.
And even if someone wasn't given a ticking time bomb, you could just get hit by a bus.
Right. Yeah.
We all are literally a ticking time bomb.
Yes.
Depends how you look at it.
That's how our lives are, though. And I remember this service. I remember this worship service, and it was during Brother Eduardo's service.
Our executive minister. And it was during that time of faith, that trust in, and rely on. what he can do for you.
Yes. And I remember that service, and I remember praying and just saying, God, if I want to live, and if you allow me to live, I'll use my life in service for you. And that's where biblically there's the story of King Hezekiah. And I remember that. And I always loved that story growing up, in children's worship service. But this was that time where I was like, oh, I could relate to this. This is what that story meant to me then, and where it was going to play into my life now. When I thought about that story, about what was the first thing that King Hezekiah did? And as a king, he didn't ask for doctors to come in. He didn't. He turned to God. And that's why I said to you, when I was told that, all I knew was I knew I needed God. And so when I asked him, I said, if you allow me to live, please, I'll use my life in service to you. I didn't know how he was going to use me, but all I know is I want to be an effective instrument. So imagine a year went by, and I asked a minister for a prayer on my birthday. And he said, what do you want? I love when they ask that, because they're going to pray for you with such intention. And the only thing I asked him, I said, that the Holy Spirit never leaves me. And that was it. I saw and felt everything shift. And it wasn't like it went away. It's not even about that. God he's the most intentional in our lives. And he put the right people in my life to talk to me, to guide me, to medical doctors, my mentors, to help me think different. The mindset had to shift, what I'm saying. And I started to read this book that it's science-based on how the mind is malleable, right?
Yes.
And that your thoughts can change your physical pattern. And so when I started reading this, all of that was in the book, it was already being taught to us since our childhood in the worship service.
Yes.
The constant renewal of your mind. And if you're constantly renewing your mind, which you need to, because our mind naturally gravitates to the negative, that's where I was like, okay, I can change the trajectory and the course of my life through my thoughts.
Yes.
What is it that we're always taught? Put on the mind of Christ. And I was like, okay. Everything that we were being taught in the worship services, it was all being applied, and I was able to use it in my journey to heal. When I say heal, the brain aneurysm didn't go away, but my mind was healing.
Your mind is what changed.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that it really is a progression of faith. Normally when someone is diagnosed with something, with pain, right? Our first go-to is, God, please take this away. How long did it take you to go from God, please take away, or hoping that it would go away, to fully accepting this is my reality? And now you're just trusting in God.
That was that year of constantly going through. Because you're right. I didn't even think about that. There was a point where I was like, this is going to go away. So I was going to ER and like, can you check?
Maybe it disappeared overnight.
Maybe there's a wrong diagnosis. Nope, I've had 3 different hospitals check and it's there.
It's still there. As you know, my husband has had his own medical issues as well. In the beginning, you're like, had cardiomyopathy, he had heart transplant, then kidney transplant. In the beginning, you're just praying, God, please take this away. Take this diagnosis away. Show the doctors that you can perform a miracle because I'm your child.
Yes.
And then as time goes on, you're like, still there. And now you shift to, I'm just trusting. In our family, we always say, we don't get to choose our trials. Our only job is to make sure we pass them.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like, as I'm listening to you talk, you went from focusing on the aneurysm, focusing on your illness, and now you didn't even mention once the word aneurysm, because everything that came out of your mouth just now were all about God.
And I don't even call it my aneurysm. I call it an aneurysm. The aneurysm.
Why?
Aneurysm.
Why do you not
It's not mine.
own it?
That's not mine. that's just my test, like you said. It's like your trial. That's just part of my journey.
But it's not your
But
identity.
it's not my identity. That's not who I am. And that's something that I learned in that process. You're talking about how long did it take from that shift? Really, it was that worship service.
Wow.
And it was that worship service. And then from that worship service, it was the people he put in my life to change my perspective. And as it's happening, I'm forgetting I have anything, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. I'm in the clear.
Fine.
I'm good. I'm fine. And, I didn't really talk about it to too many people. Only my family really knew. Even when I would go into my doctor's appointments with the neurosurgeon, he goes, your blood pressure is really low. And I was like, well,
Now
is that
it's too low. Before it was too high.
No, but like it's low for someone who has an aneurysm. He's like, your blood pressure is normal, is pretty much what he's saying. He's like, your blood pressure is normal. And I said,
But weren't you on meds?
yeah. I was like, what? Well, why is that like a thing you'd say to me? He goes, most patients, my patients, their blood pressure is high when they come to see me. And I said, well, I mean, isn't my fate no different than yours? And he goes, well, you're right. Like, I could tell I changed.
By this time, were you still having panic attacks? Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's how powerful the mind
mind
is.
is.
So you basically took cognitive science, right? And biblical teachings. And the Bible says that, right? Be careful of your thoughts because our lives are shaped by our thoughts. And it was proven true with you.
It's like, it's a constant thing you have to do. You can't just think that, all right, well, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm always right.
Yeah.
Everything's always, this is how I've always thought. This is how I'm always going to think. That's not true. We're constantly having to renew it. And so in that span that I was changing, you're saying physical change was stark difference. The headaches, I think also, well, I'm on the medication of high blood pressure. So my blood pressure started to go down.
Felt better.
But even though like that, it was a constant, whenever a negative thought came in, I had to replace it with something positive. I had to live in constant gratitude.
Give me an example what that looks like. Like what would a bad day look like for you and how would you flip that?
Yeah. So I would get to places where I think, well, I don't have the body that I used to have, or I can't do certain things. I can't like certain limitations that I started to have on myself.
What limitations did the doctors give you?
For example, like if I'm too excited, my blood pressure is going to go up. If I'm working out too much and I'm like,
Cortisol
I can't
levels,
breathe,
you're stressing yourself.
Yeah, competitive sports. You can't be in high, intense things anymore.
Because then
My
your
blood
blood
pressure
pressure
will go
goes
up.
up and you could rupture. Wow.
Yeah, I can't even go on roller coasters anymore.
Well, that's okay because I get sick with roller coasters too.
But like different things have changed.
That you used to love.
That I used to love. And I'd be so down, like I'd get depressed. And so when thoughts of like, well, you can't do that.
You focus on the can't. When you start thinking about
I
the
was so
can't.
focused on everything
the
I
list
couldn't
of
do.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Or what I'm not anymore, or I can't be, I can't do. And I started flipping that. I'm like, but at least you can have this. At least you get to do this. You get to wake up. You can walk. At least you can walk. At least you can do this. Right?
You can still drive, obviously.
Oh yeah, I can still drive.
Yeah. So you would replace your list of can'ts to I get to.
I get to. Yeah. My gratitude list. I had to, even now, I mean, I'm talking like I'm like this all the time. That is not true. I'm always having to, but you know what's nice is if I look back at myself 2 years ago, the time between the negative thought to the positive thought is getting smaller. It's quicker for me to get out of that.
Before it used to be what? Like how many minutes? How many hours?
I would lock myself in my room, turn off the lights, don't talk to me. I don't want anything to do with anyone. And I'm very
social.
Very social.
That's so hard for me to imagine you in a dark room,
gosh.
just not.
I wouldn't leave my house. I would only leave. There were moments, there were moments where a bad day would be a bad week, where the only time I would leave my house is to go to worship service. And when I'd be in worship service, I'm smiling. I'm all good. Nothing's wrong. I'm leading. I'm singing. And I'd come home and I go back into my room and I wouldn't leave. And I try to make it like look like I was normal, like nothing happened. And those were long. I mean, those moments were like, you don't want to see light. You don't want, and you know, when you're a social person and everyone expects you to be that light, that
who
energy.
who they knew you as.
Right. You're supposed to be a particular, have this energy that you bring every time. You have to, I couldn't do it all the time. I couldn't bring that, energy.
Facade.
Yeah, and I felt guilty. I felt guilty when I couldn't be that for everyone else. And I felt like if I'm not good, if I'm not on, then what was the point of me being there? So I would hide.
You're so hard on yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's where like I started to change. The change started to happen where I think God put me through this, not just, I'm going to talk about this. I think God put me through this so that I can change to become the person he always wanted me to be. So I can truly be that light that everyone thinks I am. Because it's easy to get in front of people and be what you think they need. But it's not easy, actually. It's hard to be that person when you're really not that for yourself.
These moments, days, weeks of depression, months maybe even. What were your prayers like during your darkest times?
Why'd you leave me?
Because it felt that way.
Yeah, I felt like, well, you know, growing up, you're taught to like, you reflect. Is this a sin? You know, am I being punished? I'm sorry. That's like all you can say, right? I'm sorry. And then when these lessons in worship service help you navigate through those emotions and thoughts, I'm sorry. And then it's, can you help me pass? Or is this what you want for me? Is it going to be like this forever? And yeah, and sometimes you don't want it anymore. You don't want to feel these things. And I'm so thankful that I don't live in that place anymore.
Yeah.
Because you beat yourself up a lot. You blame yourself for things. You think that you deserve it. Those long moments of not, you start to lose your self-worth too. And I think me saying this right now isn't something that like I would like openly talk about. But yeah, I lost a lot of like self-worth because I thought, well, if I'm sick and I can't do the things I used to, what good am I to anybody else? Nobody wants to be around that. You know, you don't want to be around somebody who's always down.
Do you think that, we learn in worship service all the time that God is a God of order? God never just does anything just because. There's always purpose. Yeah. And as you look back at your life now, 3 years later, do you see the purpose?
Absolutely. I see it clear as day what my purpose is.
Thank you for tuning in to Making Changes. We're so grateful to have you on this journey of growth and transformation. Let us know what topics you'd love to hear, whether it's spiritual growth, navigating life transitions, or deepening your faith. Your feedback helps shape our conversations. And if the show has inspired you, subscribe and leave us a review. Your support helps us continue bringing uplifting conversations that empower change from the inside out. Let's grow together. Drop us a topic suggestion and hit that subscribe button today.
I'm a firm believer, because I've also experienced it myself, is that it is during these really, really, really tough, you're the bottom of the barrel experiences where you not only get to know what you are made of, but more importantly, you get to know what God is made of.
Yes. Absolutely. A year after I kind of finally got my foot on the ground, I'm more positive, I'm working on my thought life, and I'm getting through all of this. The day after my birthday last year, 2024, I find out I have cancer. I was having dinner with Anata. She was going through, she was going to get her tumor removed from her, but it's benign and she's fine. She's just telling me about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm not regular either, but that's normal because I have PCOS, my cycle, whatever. Some random girl comes to our table and she goes, I'm sorry, I was eavesdropping. She goes, but my sister just died of ovarian cancer. And she looks at me, she's like, I think you should get checked, and walks away. And I was like, what? I was like, what just happened right now? And I had just gotten my regular exam, so I wasn't due for one. And when she walked away, I was like, really? I was like, okay. I scheduled it right away.
Yeah.
So from there, I had my exam and my doctor was like, something doesn't seem right. Let's get an ultrasound. I'm like, okay. So the ultrasound, and the guy, I could see his face like, and they're not supposed to do that, right? And say, what did you find? And he was like, nah, it's normal. You should be fine. We're just going to do a biopsy. I'm like, oh, okay. So then he does the biopsy. So I'm waiting for the results. And so I am eager and impatient. So I go and look. And I sent that to someone, like a doctor. I said, what's this word? And I was like, can you read this paragraph? And the response was, that's not good. She was like, you have cancer.
What is ovarian cancer?
I ended up having in my uterus, cancer in my uterus. Oh my gosh. It was 10 p.m. No, it was like 11:30 at night, the day after my birthday. And I'm looking at this thing. And I looked at my sister. I said, I'll be right back. She's like, where are you going? I was like, I'm going to the chapel. And so I drove straight to the Seattle chapel. It was like a 45-minute drive. It was, by that time, it was like midnight. And I just remember getting on my knees and I said, nothing. I just cried. And he was all I have. And I said, can you just get me through this one too? Trust me, it was like, why? It was like, I was like, didn't I just get through this one? You're talking about God saying like his order and his purpose. Now that I look back, while I was crying and saying, why? Like, I just got through this one. How come you're putting this one in my path? And I said, but I know you got me through that one. So I know you're going to get me through this one. But I'm just, again, my prayer was the same, was, if it's okay, can you just let me like get through this? And I still went through, like, I didn't have time to think. The thing is like, I didn't have any time to think. It was, you have cancer. We don't know what stage until we go in. We think we should just get it removed. So within that month, they removed and went into a full hysterectomy, ovaries and everything. And then not only did I end up having menopause, but then it was the realization that I could never have children.
Oh, gosh.
And that didn't sink in till maybe around 4 months after, because like somebody was always visiting me. My mind was off, right? So I went on a trip with my family. We did a family cruise. And so I was acting like nothing was wrong with me. And then it hit me. I could never have a child. I love children. Anyone who knows me, like, man. And that one was the one that took a big hit on me, was, why did I have to have, how come I have to go through this?
How come I get 3 whammies? Most people just get 1.
Yeah. Like, and not like, I'm going to be real. Like, don't you love me? Like, I love you. And it's like, not that God didn't love me. It's just that feeling like I'm a human, like, don't you love me? Like, was I not good enough to be a mother? I had all these thoughts. And layer on layer, I could tell you, God helped me with the whole thought life because I had to constantly change the negative thought to a positive. I had to constantly tell myself that's not their story. That's lies. Don't put lies in your mind.
Don't believe everything you think.
Yes. Don't believe everything.
I want to go back to when you said you went to the chapel and you just didn't say anything, but you just cried after hearing that now you've got brain aneurysm, now you've got cancer, and you said you didn't say anything, you just cried. Even though words never came out, what were you feeling?
Can you hold me? I have nobody. Because at this point, I'm like, no one's gonna ever understand me. Like, I just felt like, and I don't live close to my parents. My parents live in Nebraska and I live in Washington. And, what's the first thing who do you go to when you need comfort? You go to your parents. And to me, the closest way I could get a comfort or a hug or an embrace was if I went to the chapel. And so that's all. I just asked him to be there for me. It was just the weirdest thing because I felt him.
Yeah.
I felt him so close to me. And even though I was confused and lost, I knew he was there.
Sometimes, don't you feel like sometimes the most powerful prayers isn't even when you say words? And you triggered a memory in me that I forgot. One of Jason's, he was also back and forth the ER and back and forth the hospital. One day he went in for a regular checkup, but then the doctor ends up nicking his heart and he ends up having an open heart surgery. He's on tubes and stuff for days, went from going in, okay, I'll see you in a couple of hours, to all of a sudden, we don't know if he's going to make it. And right after that, we went to the chapel because he said, I just want to go to the chapel. And we went into the chapel and walked to the first row of the pews and we just sat there. Mm-hmm. Opposite ends, we sat there. We didn't say a word to each other and we just cried. We weren't praying together, but our hearts were praying together. And I forgot that memory until you said it. But I completely agree with you that those moments where we, you didn't have family, but the first thought we want to have in moments of despair, in moments of confusion, in moments of just utter, I don't even have words for it, right? And it's like the minute we go into the chapel and it's like our whole body just falls down and you feel like you get a hug.
That's what I felt like.
And no matter if once you walk out of the chapel, you don't know what your life is, but man,
you have strength.
That hug strengthens you. There are those that may say, right, who may obviously not have the same depth of faith as you do, could say, Meng, I mean, come on. You already have a brain aneurysm and your God allowed you to have another curveball. Now it's cancer and you're still that dedicated and loyal to your God despite all of these curveballs left and right. How do you explain that level, that depth of faith that you have despite everything you've been dealt with?
Our life is a gift. This isn't owed to us. We were blessed and given a gift. He could do whatever he wants. You make the most of what God gave you, but if you trust him. Where else would I go to though?
Yeah.
Where else would I go if not him? And you're telling me like, if that's the thought, like Job, right? Everything's taken away from you and you're still going to serve him. Yes, absolutely. Because he's everything to me. I could lose everything, but not him. He can make everything turn around. And honestly, I don't even feel like I have an aneurysm. I don't have any symptoms. And even with the cancer, once they removed everything, nothing. It wasn't in my lymph nodes. It wasn't anything. Stage 1. How
they caught it,
blessed
and
is
some
that?
random
You see what I'm
girl,
saying?
some
Right?
random girl says, "Excuse me,
So
you should go to the doctor."
Why would I ever
sent her?
Yes.
Except God.
That's why I can't. There was never a doubt in my mind, or there was never a moment in my life that when I was going through these trials, that God wasn't with me. And I'll tell you why.
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode, we want to invite you to check out Rhea Mae's Faith Speaks. It's a powerful follow-up to what you just heard. She opens up even more about the anxiety she faced after finding out about her brain aneurysm. And she talks about how God helped change her mindset during what she calls her King Hezekiah moment. Our favorite part, when she talks about 5 things God taught her. And there's this moment where she talks about flipping the script. Instead of focusing on what was going wrong, Rhea Mae chose to look for the blessing in every situation. Watch it now on incmedia.org or on the INC Media app.
So 4 months after it hit me, I can't have children. I'm in despair. I'm so sad.
Let's go back to that though. You talking about not being able to have children, and I could see it in your eyes. I could see the hurt, the pain.
I didn't think it was going to hurt me, to be honest. I'm not even
the
married.
Disappointment. No, but still, it's the hope, right?
Yes.
How were you able to reconcile your mind with that decision of God that, Meg, this isn't for you, at least right now?
I'm about to do this musical evangelical mission about the aneurysm. I'm supposed to sing. Okay, I'm supposed to sing on stage. And I'm constantly like, I can't sing. I'm an alto. Don't you're gonna make me sing a solo. This is not gonna happen. You hear my voice?
Yeah.
And she's like, sing. So I'm singing. And she's hardcore. I don't know if you know her.
Marnie,
There you go. She's hardcore.
Yeah.
So so we're sitting together and she's like, sing. I'm like, I can't sing. And she's like, let it go. That's all she kept saying. Let it go. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Said it one more time. Boom. I just started crying. I was like, I'm angry. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Like, why? Why is this happening to me? I was so mad. I was angry. And I think even she was shocked, like, oh my gosh, I've never seen Meng. I'm typically like, hey guys, what's up? How are you doing?
Always.
This one was like, I'm angry. I'm so mad. I'm so frustrated. And that's when I lived in there. I lived in that. I let it open out and then I lived in it for a little bit. My sister saw me. She would come home, I'd be crying. She'd leave, I'd be crying. She's like, what do I do? She's like, I haven't seen you like this since the aneurysm kind of thing.
Right.
And she's like, you've always been really good with navigating your emotions. Now I'm like, it's gone again. So that's how life is going to be like this.
Hills and valleys.
Yeah, that's why I could talk about this now, but I don't know what my test is going to be like next year, right? But I do know God let me go through what I did those couple of years because it was about to take place now. I was going to use that same strength.
Do you think you kind of built up resilience? You've kind of, because if that was the first thing, imagine if your test of the cancer, not being able to have kids came before the aneurysm, that would have been a much bigger blow.
Yeah, because I told everyone last year was the worst year of my life. It wasn't even about the aneurysm.
Wow.
That was the worst I've ever felt in my life. So I decided to have a devotional prayer for 2 weeks in this sanctuary at the chapel. By the last couple days of my prayer, someone was visiting from Texas, and she was with one of my aunts. And she goes, oh, let's hang out. I said, I'm sorry, I'm at the chapel. She was like, why are you praying so late? I was like, oh, well. And my aunt was like, oh, she's just a faithful girl. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And then the next day we ended up having dinner. She goes, can I ask, why are you driving so far to pray every night? Like,
45 minutes.
for real.
Yeah.
I was like, you really want to know? So I told her the whole story, aneurysm,
Yeah.
cancer, all this stuff. And I said, well, right now, so that night that I couldn't hang out with them, in my prayer, I said, God, I know you don't owe me anything, but if I could ask you, could you tell me why I had to go through this? What, like, how come I can't have kids? It's okay. If you don't want to tell me, I'm okay. But if it's okay with you, that's how I said it too. So the next day we have dinner. And so I tell her everything. And I'm telling her, and her face is like this. And I'm like, oh, in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's judging me. I was like, oh, you asked.
She got judgy
I
eyes.
was like, now you're, and I said, do you have any questions? I was like, did I say something wrong? And she goes, Meng, God saved you. And I was like, what do you mean? Because she's a physician.
Oh.
She's a nurse practitioner. She was like, did you know that the number one complication in pregnancy is high blood pressure? That was it.
Mic drop.
And I just dropped and I started crying and I held her hand. I said, you are the answer to my prayer last night. That's who God
loves
uses.
you, man.
Doesn't God is so,
Wow.
if you let him in and you let him guide you and you walk with him, he will give you everything you ask for. And so when she told me that, I said, thank you. And it was a complete 180 from being in despair and wondering why this had to happen to me to I can walk my life because I know you're there.
So he was watching out for you so you could live
Because
longer.
what did I ask him in the beginning? The thing
To live.
To live. So now,
You're like, that's what you asked, girl.
I said, well, that wasn't the way I wanted it. And I was like, but you know,
Yeah.
that's what I mean, that there's a story throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
At this point, it's like, what do I have to doubt? He's so present. Then sometimes I think, am I that hard-headed? He's like,
You keep teaching your
you
lessons.
just like, you really need to know this. But that's when I know, like, I can't keep silent. I can't keep silent about him. You know what a funny thing is?
Yeah.
A good friend of mine said, you know what? I'm not worried about you. You're not going to die. And I said, what? Why you say that? She's like, because you're just good PR for God. I was like, she was like, you're never going to shut up about it.
God knows you're not going to walk out on him. You're not going to give up on him. But there's something that you said that, you said the sister that you had met from Texas said, why are you praying so late? I want to know, how do you go from someone who is in deep depression, right? How were you able to pick yourself up from the floor, from your dark room, and drag yourself to the chapel, drive 45 minutes late at night to pray every night for 2 weeks?
I'm going to give credit to where credit's due, my parents, if I can go back that far. Because whenever things, as a child, whenever things were not the way that they were supposed to go, at least in our eyes, the first thing our parents would say is, let's go. The first thing my dad would say, let's pray. So that's already ingrained.
That's all you know.
That's all I know. So I can't, you're saying to someone who, that's a lot of effort, like you got to pick yourself up. Physically, yeah, but also who else can help me? Who else can help you? Because medication,
So much side effects.
my friends can only do so much because they're all going through it too.
Yeah.
Who else do I have? When everything else is stripped from you, it's because at this point now you have to trust him. Like he's all I have. So it's easy. It's not easy. You're right. Actually, that I'm saying it's not easy. Because imagine I was experiencing this weird, like angry phase again. And it took me a couple weeks to even decide to go to the chapel.
As you're telling what your life has been the last few years, I reminded of the verse, the worst is never the worst. What would you say about how accurate that is based on what you've experienced?
I came into this 2025 after 2024 being to me the heaviest. Because when you go through something heavy, you always think, there's no way I can
It
go
could get
through.
heavier?
Yeah, this is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I learned after last year, it will. It is
It'll get
going
worse.
to. Yeah. There's always something. But that's why you went through the last one. Because now your strength, your trust, it's only building. We're never going to be like, there's no destination or there's no level that you reach. To me, I could be wrong, you know, but in my experience, there's no level that, okay, I'm here. I made it. There's no, I made it. It's always going to be what's next.
I don't know. Could you liken it to like when you're working out, right? That the more you carry, the more you push yourself, you do build a resilience for it.
Yes. So you build the resilience, you build the strength from resistance.
You say that again.
You build the resilience or you build your strength from the resistance.
Wow. That is, say it again. Say it one more time.
You build your resilience or your strength from resistance. So
Resistance from
as it like you're
going to the negative.
Yeah, like or anything. Like having cancer isn't something you want, so you're going to resist it.
Yeah.
Having problems with your family is a resistance. Any trial that comes in our life, that's something you want to resist.
Yes, because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's going to force you to change.
Yeah. What would you say to people who just want to be comfortable and don't want to experience highs or lows, but just want to be in the middle?
Are we living to survive or are we living to actually live? Most people want to just survive. Maybe that's okay for them. But if you're someone that wants to live the life, like imagine this is like a gift. Like your life is an actual gift to you. Yeah. It's like a present. And then you play on words like your presence, like your present is your present.
Yeah.
But if you're wasting the present, what are you doing? But like you said, they're comfortable. But if that's how you want to live, if you don't want to live there though, then lean into the resistance, lean into the change, lean into the things that are going to make you feel uncomfortable because that's where growth is going to happen.
Yes. And on the same token, that's the only way we're really going to get to know what we're made of and what God is made of. And, we talked about cognitive science earlier, but, there's actually I don't know if you've heard the term post-traumatic growth, PTG.
Oh, no.
And so they've done lots of studies on, they'll scan people's brains, those who have gone through trauma, but how they reacted, how they responded to it. And when they did brain scans on these people, they saw that
change.
Their brains are like, you wouldn't even think they had trauma because, they say it's like lighting up, And so just like your story, it isn't, actually there's Bible verses about that. It is not about our circumstance. It's really how we respond.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like that I'm a living proof to that.
Yeah.
I think I get to live that. I think that's the coolest thing to say I get to do is that it's not about your it's never about your circumstance.
Because it could be anything.
Yeah, and everybody's going through something. And that thing that's like the whole thing, like I'm not a victim. And even when we talked, I was like, I don't want to share this story because I don't want anyone to think, oh, poor Rhea Mae or whatever. Like, because it's not about that. But you get to choose that. That's the beauty is that we get choice. We get to choose to change.
Yes.
But
and you brought that up about sharing your story. Why did you've done a Faith Speaks, you've done a musical EVM in your district, and you're here. Why is it so important for you to? I know at first you were like, I don't want to divulge my life and all that. Resistance, yes. But now that you have done it, a few times, what is it about sharing your story? Why do you do it still?
Because I ask God, if you allow me to live, then use me as an effective instrument. And if this is the way he wants me to do it, who am I to say? I already made that that deal with him. This isn't even my story anymore.
Whose story is it?
That's God's. It was always God's story. I just happened to be the one he chose. And I'm like, thanks. Thank you. Right? Because you can look at it that way.
Yes.
Thank you for choosing. Thank you for trusting me and believing that I would get through this test. Because we're always taught that God will never give you more than you can handle.
Yes.
But it's not just that doesn't just come in trial. That's like God will never give you more than you can handle, even in blessings. So
expound more on that. What do you mean by that?
We want so many things in our life. Maybe I want to be rich. I want to have this. I want to have, you want to have you have this goal of what kind of life you want to have. But you have to build your faith and your strength and your understanding before you can attain that
Before
blessing.
you're ready for it.
I have so many blessings right now. I can probably say with all my heart, like I'm not the richest person. I'm not. I superficially, you look at me and you're like, she ain't all that. She ain't got nothing. You're right. But you know what I have? Peace of mind. That no one can take that from me. That peace of mind. I wouldn't have understood and valued it the way I value it now because I went through so much chaos in my mind before. I went through so much chaos in my body and not knowing what to do. That now with this peace that he gives me, when I ask God for something, I just know he's going to give it to me. I just don't know when.
Yeah.
I don't know the timing, but the timing doesn't matter. What matters is that God's there. I don't need to know how it's going to happen. I know God's going to do it. I just need to make sure I do my part and work. I do my part to the best that I can, and I know that whatever outcome or whatever gift God has for me at the end, it's going to happen. And it's going to be better than what I could have ever imagined. And those are the things that have changed. The way that I think, the way that I feel. Is it always like this? No, it's always like this. But what's constant in my life is God. And so if I know he's solid and he's in my life, I'm solid, I'm good. Yeah.
You were telling me earlier that this party, your birthday, you didn't want to wait.
As you guys all know, in the last couple of years, I've had my go of, growth and challenges, but I'm here right now. I told myself, I'm not going to wait until I can't communicate with you and you are all in one room and I can't talk.
And you're in a hospital bed.
I'm in a hospital bed or I'm dead.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I want this to be where I'm with all of you and we can hang out and we can talk and we can share stories and you can feel my love and gratitude. Like this party was for me to say thank you for being with me in my journey. Thank you for being my family. Thank you for letting me be part of your life.
You talk about peace of mind. For someone who can't grasp what that looks like or feels like to live a life of intention, gratitude, and give us a glimpse of what that feels like inside for you.
I'll just be driving and someone comes into my home. For example, you'll come into my mind and I'll text you. I love you. I hope you're having a good day. I don't know what you were going through. No idea. You could have been having the worst day or nobody was talking to you. And it's like, I don't have a lot to give you physically or financially or anything like that, but I can send my love to you and
your thoughts.
Yeah, my thoughts. Yeah. And I always hope that it brought some kind of light into your life. To me, that's a lot. That means a lot because I get it all the time. I'll call somebody and when this person hears it, I think they'll know who they are because it's always on a Thursday for some reason. But it's a random call that we haven't talked for months or even whatever. And she'll always end it with, how did you know?
Wow.
I said, I didn't, and
it's like, okay, kind of like going back to the girl at the restaurant who told you should go get checked. God used her obviously to just tap you on the shoulder and hey, Mang, you should, take notice. But in those instances, it's like God is using you to reach out to people.
Right. And I don't know. I don't even know why. Sometimes it's like, oh, that's why I called you. It's like you just needed to talk.
But remember how you said in one of your requests, prayer requests that you had asked, is that for the Holy Spirit to never leave you.
Yes.
And I feel like those are perfect examples of that.
Even till now, I even pray, when I'm in worship service, I ask God, can you come home with us? Because we know he's there. We feel him in the worship service. We feel him in the house of worship. But can you come home with us?
What do you mean by that?
And I know he's always with us. It's not like he ever leaves us. But I don't know. For me, I just started asking God to go home with us. Because when you walk out of the chapel, sometimes it's like you're hit with the world again.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the chapel, when you're in the worship service, it's like
You're safe.
it's like you imagine it's like
yeah.
quiet. You can pray, you can talk, you can breathe.
You're in a bubble almost.
Yes. It's like I call it a force field.
Ah, yeah.
Please put a force field around me
Yeah.
from any harms and dangers, any evil thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I think I started to see myself like when I'm here, I'm fine. But then when I walk out, I feel all the worries. It's like a flood comes back in. So now I ask him, when I walk out, can you come home with me? So that there's
I get it now.
peace comes with me. Yeah.
Yes.
That started just recently. And I feel it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
But that's what I meant.
Going back to you living your fullest life, your best life. Tell me about this little project that you had.
Which one? No, I'm just kidding.
You have so many.
Yeah. No, well, the book?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like, which one? No, I'm just kidding. So I've been writing. So I have a lot of emotions. I'm a very emotional person. I own it now. Where before I was like, I'm emotional. Yeah, I am. Thank you. I love it.
That's me. Uh-huh.
Yeah, thank you for recognizing my superpower. But and with all these emotions, I have to have an outlet. And so I write. I've been writing for a long time. And I have all these poems. And so I told myself on my 40th birthday, my gift for myself is to publish my first book of poetry. And so February 25th, 2025, I published a book, my first book of poetry, and it's called Real Raspy. And it's a play on my name. So
Show your book.
Okay. So this is my book. So if you notice, so this is my name, Rhea, and I put real, so then it's heal is highlighted in blue.
I just got that.
Raspy, if you think, my voice.
Well, your voice,
raspy,
yeah.
But it's like, it's raw, right? It's raw emotions. And I put echoes of truth, grit, and soul. And so they're raw emotions written down on paper to help you heal. And so help me heal.
As we close our talk today, how would you say how different is the Rhea Mae from 3 years ago to the Rhea Mae today? How much have you changed?
Man, I'm not the same person. I think at my core, I'm still that, like, I still love hard. I still have faith, but it's like times 10. And the things that I thought were such a big deal are nothing. It's like it's too short to care about the little things. Like if I can focus on the big rocks, if I can focus on the things that really matter, then the little things, it's easier. Everything's so easy now. Where before everything was so
Heavy.
hard, everything was so heavy.
What you've carried in the last 3 years are things that most people haven't really carried in a lifetime.
I think so. I think the resistance helped me change, and the change is what made me grow. And the growth that I have, I know is only going to... See, I try to stop myself when I talk because then I'm always rhyming. You ever notice? Like, if you play this back, I'm like...
because you're a poet and didn't even know it.
I know, exactly.
Keep rhyming. I love it.
That change, that resistance into resilience, to change, to growth, I know for sure is bringing me into the person that God wants me to become, like in alignment to that. I asked for it though. Yeah. Like when you ask for it, then be ready for the challenges and the tests, because you can't get to the next level without tests. You're always going to have a test. I mean, we learned that from our childhood in school, but that's applicable even in our life. So you want the next level? You're going to have to go through a test. And now I feel like I have all the tools. Like I went through and I got to read the books I needed to read. I got to the tools. I got the hands-on experience so that as I'm going to keep growing and becoming better and better, I can come into my pocket and be like, oh yeah, I remember I can do this.
You have a PhD in life. But what, I'm so curious now that, it's like you and God are like this. You guys are like
my best friend.
You best friend, what do you think you learned about God that you didn't know before everything you'd been through?
That he's right there. I think growing up, like we learned about God, but it was like you never see it. Obviously we don't see him, but in actuality you see him in everything. I think that's what changed for me, my perspective in it. And he's so ready and willing to be there for you, but are we letting him in? Because that's what I didn't do. I think that's what I learned was, like if anybody told me 3-4 years ago, your faith isn't strong, I would be so offended. I'd be like,
because you thought you were, you were good. You were an active officer.
I checked all the boxes, but did I really in here? And now if someone was to say that, I'd be like, you're right. And even if they said that to me right now, my faith isn't that strong, I'd be like, you're right. Because it can always get better.
Because there are next levels that we don't even see yet.
Yeah. Yes. And but the best thing about it is we all have access to it. It's your choice if you want to access it. How do you access it? You got to talk to him. So like, I talk to him at every chance I can get.
And I think you brought up such a good point that we all have, for those of us who are God's children in the Church of Christ, we have access to it. But how often do we use that access to him?
Yeah. You know why? But I know, why we limit ourselves from accessing him or even talking to him in prayer? Because of shame. Because of guilt.
What do you mean? Oh.
Like you think about it. Like you think you're not worth it. You're not worthy. Let's use somebody that we revere. Someone on here in
earth.
In earth. And we revere them and they give us like access to them. You can
Here's
call
the
them
key.
whenever here. Yeah. Here's my phone number. Here's this. You won't even
not
call them
using
because you're ashamed or you feel guilty or you're like, I don't have anything. We do that even when it comes to our communication with God.
Yeah.
We think, well, I messed up so many times or I'm not this, I'm not that. So then we don't talk to him. Then we don't talk to him. Then we don't talk to him.
And it gets longer and the gap gets bigger and bigger. And then boom, something in life
fell
happens.
Apart.
And now you need God. Can I just share one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from somebody was the best time to get close to God is when things are good.
Yep.
So that when things get bad, and they will, because that's life, you won't be embarrassed. You won't be ashamed to go to him. So take advantage when life is smooth and easy. That's when you strengthen your relationship with God.
Right.
And I never forgot that because to your point, exactly what you just said is that we don't access it because we're ashamed. But if we always make the effort to have a good relationship, to keep in touch with God through prayer, when life is good, when we don't need anything, right? Then it'll be so much easier to access him when we desperately need him.
We don't wait. Just do it. That's so good. That's so true. We wait too long.
My dad used to always tell me this too. You should be worried when life is too good, right? Because also when life is too good, we get comfortable.
We forget. We
forget to pray. We go to bed, we forget to pray because life is good. And that's why we do need the hard times because that's the only way to exactly what you were saying. That is our lifeline to God, really. It's through the hard times. That's when we really get to know him. He gets to know us. And
when you start to build your faith,
then
you get to talk to him all the time.
All the time. And then you grow and...
That's where I want to be. I think that's my...
You don't think you're there?
I think there's so much more improvement.
So we're going to end this with rapid fire questions.
All right, let's go.
I'm going to see whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
Is what you say, whatever is in your heart. Hold on, I need my glasses. Okay.
All right.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
All right. The biggest life lesson I've learned is...
How fast is this? The biggest life lesson that I've learned is live in gratitude and always forgive. You know, when you don't forgive, it's like you're holding on to like something dark inside of you.
Heavy.
It's heavy. And then the minute you forgive, even the littlest things, like because some people don't even know that they hurt you. It's like you literally feel darkness coming out. Like
You feel
heavy.
lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The lesson that took me longest to learn is...
That I'm a child of God. That I don't have to keep going backwards, and I can stay in gratitude. Because when you live in like thankfulness, like you don't think you're sad. You don't think that your life is sad. You don't think that you
don't focus on what you don't have.
What you don't have. Yeah.
You're focused on what you do have. God is...
amazing. God is my best friend. God loves me. God is everything to me.
Change is...
inevitable. Like you need it. You need change. Without change, you're going to lose everything and not even realize it.
What do you mean?
I think that when you start to get complacent and
Comfortable.
comfortable, things will you're not gonna take care of certain things the way you used to. You know, when nothing's changing and you're just doing the same thing over and over and expecting it to just be there, slowly things will start. Maybe it's a marriage, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your relationships, and you stay stagnant, then slowly these things might be changing, might be growing.
Might be leaving.
And
you don't even know it.
You turn around and you're like, where'd everything go? And you're like, I deserve this. Why isn't this here? And you get stuck.
Well, Mang,
It's a lot, sorry.
this was a life-changing conversation. And I know you're going to change so many lives. People who may never meet you in person, but you keeping your promise to God that you're going to be used by Him to talk about just how amazing He has been in your life and can be for His other children's lives. You are a blessing to everyone who knows you and is loved by you, not just because you're always just so fun to be around, but you've all taught us something. Thank you. And I can't hug you because these mics are in the way, but thank you. Thank you for sharing your story.
I love you. I
love
really
you
do.
too, girl.
I love you. Thank you so much for everything.
And keep writing.
I will.
That's
just volume 1.
You know, Meng's story is such a powerful reminder that we don't get to choose our trials, but we absolutely get to choose how we respond to them. From brain aneurysm to cancer, she chose surrender over bitterness, trust over fear. So if you're asking, why me? Remember, your current chapter isn't your final chapter, and God is writing a story far better than you can imagine. If Meng's story encouraged you, share this with someone who needs to hear that faith can flourish in the hardest of seasons. For more Making Changes podcasts, visit incmedia.org or find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening, and may your change uplift you.